if you're going to beat an SEC team, Auburn is like that wrestler you beat before you get the title shot. They're like Jake the Snake. That's what Auburn is. You got to beat him before you get a shot at Hogan.
Yeah, you got to set
Something
up.
like that.
You got to set it up.
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis provide off-season college football coaching news, discuss the transfer portal from the lens of student-athletes, as well as providing insight on Arizona men's basketball recruitment of international college prospects. Is this the wave of the future? Welcome to today's show.
Dr. Keith Adams is the president of the CKA Save Project, a nonprofit organization designed to assist student athletes and the people who work with them through educational and professional development. He is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college levels. He has won numerous championships and epitomizes professionalism. Coach Mike Franchise Francis is one of the most successful football and basketball coaches in the state of Maryland. He too is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college level and is self-admittedly a little rough around the edges. Both men have mentored countless student athletes, teachers, and coaches using their unique methods and approaches to leadership. Both men also share a unique and special friendship that was cultivated often through their unique perspective of life and leadership. Dr. Adams through his extensive educational background and Coach Francis through his life experiences. Can these two men share a podcast without driving each other crazy? Welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Eddie Guerrero to my Art Bar in Los Gringos Locos in AAA. The icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis and Coach Art Bar. When you're bored, Art Bar has the best frog splash ever in the history of professional wrestling. And Eddie took the Eddie's finishing maneuver is called the frog splash when he jumps off the top rope and contorts himself and comes out. Okay. But Art Bar had the best frog splash. And the coolest thing about Eddie was instead of dedicating it to Art Bar, he just changed his finisher. So every time he did it, it was a dedication to Art Bar, and now everybody who's doing it in dedication of Eddie is remembering Art Bar because that dude did a heck of a frog splash. So again, fans, if you're bored, go ahead and YouTube Art Bar and his frog splash because it was, wow. Forget Rob Van Dam, forget every frog splash. Watch Art Bar, and I'm sure you're like, that's just too much time spent on frog splash, but whatever. Welcome to our Throwdown Thursday edition. We're going to talk some off-season coaching news. We're going to get some transfer thoughts from the voice of the student athlete, and I'm going to dive in deep with my partner on Arizona men's basketball international recruiting philosophy and give my partner's thoughts on it because he has some strong opinions about the NBA and maybe you can see where some of this is coming from. But let's get started. The fruits go to the winner. Georgia is close to finalizing a long-term contract extension with Kirby Smart that will make him among the highest paid coaches in college football. As you know, the Georgia Bulldogs won their first national title in 41 years as they dominated Alabama 33-18. Kirby is a former defensive back for Georgia. He has a 66-15 record. And of course, we have to talk some money now. So Kirby's 46. He agreed to a 7-year, $49 million contract extension in May of 2018 that almost doubled his compensation from his original contract. His current average of $7 million a year ranks 6th in the SEC behind Nick Saban, who makes $10.6 million a year. Brian Kelly, who makes $9.5 million a year. Jimbo makes $9 million a year. Your boy Lane Kiffin makes $7.25 and Billy Napier makes $7.1 million a year. Coach, any thoughts on Kirby and his new contract that's coming?
Well deserved, I think. Kirby Smart has, put in the time. He's built a program that's very successful. They're the only team that can actually approach Alabama and things like that in the conference. So well deserved. Well
Wow,
deserved.
man,
I
that's
mean,
some real money out there. I'm looking at this.
hey,
I know I'm staring, Mike. Nick makes 10.6 million, and you think he worried about insulting Jimbo? You think he worried? Good.
he
Brian
did
Kelly ain't won. We
nothing.
have as many national
Yes,
championships as
we do.
Brian Kelly,
Yes, I do.
and that guy's getting 9.5. Now,
Right,
again, get your money. I
right.
ain't mad at you,
Grab the bag. Get the
but
bag.
Jiminy Crickets, that's some. It's just different in the SEC. It's just different.
Yeah, but you know he's paying him for the appearances and
Oh, that's
holding
different
up.
money.
You know how it is. SEC money is total different. That's NFL money, actually, some better than some NFL teams, honestly, because the way it's ran. But yeah, the man, I mean, 66-15. Like
Yeah.
he paying for wins. Like we ain't talking about losses and scandals and going back. I mean, Alabama doing what they do. Like, I mean, with Alabama being the way they are, for him to be able to crack inside of that, yes, he's well deserved. The alumni are going to definitely fork that money up for that.
All right. Now, CBS Sports gives us a lot of ideas for show topics. So for the rest of this segment, we're just going to kind of go around some off-season coaching stuff with teams. So outlooks for new hires. Most likely to win big early, Lincoln Riley at USC and Brent Venables at Oklahoma. Agree or disagree, Coach?
Not sold on either one of them. I mean, well, Lincoln Riley, yeah, what he can
Lincoln's
do.
going to win in the
Yeah,
Pac-12
he
because
will.
ain't
He
nothing
will.
there.
He can. I'll say that. But
And what does the Big 12 have? They got Baylor, they got Texas, they got Oklahoma State.
I'm still waiting.
So Oklahoma should be able to win. They should be.
See me in January.
Kansas State, you're still playing K-State. You're going to beat them. You're going to beat Kansas. You're going to beat Kansas. I'm going to tell you that now. Okay? You're going to beat them. Okay. All right.
So who they got to go?
Now, they still got 2-3 more years in the Big 12, fattening up wins. And then when they kick the crossover to the SEC,
That ass going to get
I think
handed
he
to
might,
him. That ass going to get handed
sick
to him. No.
that year, or somebody
Yes,
might
sir.
offer him another.
He might need a back surgery or something, some shit like, you know. I'm serious, man. That man ain't going to survive no SEC. What are you talking about? It's going to take him 5-6 years to even get close. Be like, you know.
All right. Most likely to win big later. Mario Cristobal at Miami, Billy Napier at Florida. What do you think? Agree or disagree? Mario's trying to do something with Miami, but it still comes down to players, but they're playing in the ACC.
Yeah, which means they only got two teams they got to beat in the ACC.
And if the ACC does, everybody play everybody or whatever, the 3-5-5,
3-5-3 or something, 3-5-5.
He's gonna have an opportunity. So I think Cristobal. I don't know about Florida winning big later because SEC, Kirby, Jimbo, and Nick.
They got
that's three right
that. There. They got a lot to say about that. Why you keep leaving out the man at LSU, man? You don't never.
That was accident. That was not a loss.
You talk about these SEC coaches. You ain't said his name once, man. No. Come on, bro. The one with the fake accent.
All right. They say Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame has a long leash. I'm sure my man Jake Sharla will appreciate that. Do you think Marcus have a long leash at Notre Dame? I personally do not think he has a long leash.
Hell no.
But that's for
a black man does. I'm trying to figure it out, bro.
You said it, not me.
Since we
didn't disagree.
Since we got out of change, who had a long leash? Ain't nobody.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who? Name one that had a long.
I cannot. And they say Brian Kelly at LSU, there you go, has a short leash. Yeah, LSU will get rid of you, okay? They do not care. You will leave.
They pass the hat quick, don't they? They pass the hat. Hey, we need to get rid of him. Just dump a little something in the hat right here. It's like church down there, son. They going to give you your compensation. You gone. Here you go. Here's your grievance check. See you later. Unless you don't play, man. They fire homeboy during the season.
You got to go, man.
They told him doing you got to go. Last two guys didn't even finish the season, right?
No. So even Nick left, but he left for the Dolphins. All right, last thing in this segment, transfer rankings. I'm not touching that. 3 dozen FBS programs added at least 10 transfers. How's those high school coaches feeling right now? But 5 programs stand apart. USC has hit the transfer portal hard. Ole Miss with your boy Lane Kiffin. Nebraska, Scott Frost don't have no choice. Texas,
he need a team.
You ain't got no choice. Nobody from Texas was drafted this year. Yeah, you better hurry up. And here's the sneaky one. South Carolina, they got the quarterback Spencer Rattler, and
I could not deal with that kid. I watched that QB1. I'd kill his father. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I can't put up with that. I'm just saying, you know me, like I said, no distraction. I don't care who you are. Father, drunk uncle, mother. I don't do it. I don't care how good you are. I couldn't do it. Maybe that's why I never made it like past where I did, but I can't do it. I don't do good kiss ass. I just do productivity.
So which out of these 5 schools in your eyes really stood apart with the transfer portal, because they all hit it pretty hard for a variety of reasons?
You know my main lane. My man lane. That's my main.
Man,
Gucci
they might
Lane.
be 500 next year, brother. They might be 500 next year.
Gucci Lane. That's his new nickname. I'm going to call him Gucci Lane. I started it here. Gucci Lane.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at Scott Frost in the Big Ten because he had to change up. They brought him in from UCF with all this fanfare and everything, and he ain't won nothing. Like nothing. So
what did he win beforehand?
Well, in UCF he was winning. Didn't he win the mythical national championship when they University of Central Florida? I got love University of Central Florida.
What SEC team they beat?
I think they might have beat one in a bowl game. It might be like the 5th place. You know, the different. We do bowls next week, so
Alabama,
no.
Georgia,
no.
Clemson,
no.
LSU.
I don't know who they beat in the bowl.
Talk to me, Auburn.
It might have been Auburn, but you know, if you're gonna beat an SEC team, Auburn is like that wrestler you beat before you get the title shot. They're like Jake the Snake. That's what Auburn is. You got to beat him before you get a shot at Hogan.
Yeah, you got to set it up
like that.
You got to set it up, and that's the thing. That's Auburn. Auburn's that step before you get that title match.
All right, fans. When we get back on the other side, we're going to hear from student athletes in terms of transferring, especially with the USC wide receiver situation. We'll be right back after a short break.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, we're going to get some transfer thoughts along with some NIL updates. And Jordan Addison, formerly of Pittsburgh, now with USC, finally spoke out about his transfer to USC after everybody had something to say. And he said, and I quote, "It was a gut move." Speaking for the first time on his decision to pick USC over Texas and Alabama, Addison said he first started thinking about transferring once the Panthers went under when the coaching change. Okay, that's Pitt's fault. Okay. In December, offensive coordinator Mark Whipple resigned and was replaced by Frank Singetti, while wide receivers coach was hired away by Texas at the end of the year. So let me get this straight. Head coach gone,
Mm-hmm.
OC gone,
Mm-hmm.
wide receiver coach gone. He looks to go in the portal and everybody's mad. Sounds
If
sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, if there's a reason to be in the portal, this is it. Definitely, this is it. Now, a coach, on the other hand, had won. Say a coach was right there at that level. They had a great season. His quarterback went in the draft. His best receiver went in the draft. His best lineman went in the draft. The coach started looking at other job opportunities where there's better players. Nobody says nothing.
Nothing. So let's hear more from him. He said, and I quote, I was looking for a great coach and a good football opportunity. And he's already moved to California and has already taken summer classes. Glad to hear that. I'm still figuring out myself and what I want to do and how, and I feel like this is a great opportunity. Addison was asked if Caleb Williams, who he's known since high school, was a factor in his decision. He said, and I quote, Caleb is Caleb. Okay. You don't have to say much more than that. But just where USC is, everything around it, and with Lincoln here now, there's a lot of great things I feel like I could do with this offense. And then he said, he won the Fred Biletnikoff Award. By the way, he was a really good wide receiver. I'm old enough to remember him.
Fred
Uh,
Biletnikoff was the man.
he said USC's pitch to him, schools take notes. This was USC's pitch. They showed him the potential for more explosive plays in Riley's offense compared to the plays in the ACC and Pitt. Okay. A lot of people think you won a Biletnikoff Award. How can you get much better? But they showed me that I've got a lot of improvements to do with my game, how I need to get better, and how I need to maximize my game. And despite the public reaction, he said, you can't get everybody to agree with me. So I just figured out what I wanted to do and do it. Mike, any final thoughts on that? Because it sounded like this kid did his homework and made a decision which was best for him.
Yes, he did, and I applaud the decision. I think he got it right. Like, if everyone around you leaves, how you gonna be successful? And if USC it's how hard is it for USC to show? I mean, that's smart on their part. Like, how hard is it gonna be for them to show him that they're gonna have more explosive plays than where he came from and the other offense? Like, it's USC gonna be wide open. The conference is wide open. I think it was a good move on Lincoln Riley's part. I think it was a greater move on Jordan Addison's part. Proud of the guy for doing his homework, making a decision. And anybody who can't respect it after he come out and said this, you're just looking for a reason to complain. You just
And he
want to
gets to play
bash
with
the
his
kid.
boy.
Yeah, you just want to bash the kid. You know.
Yeah. All right. So some NIL updates. This ought to be interesting. And this one caught my eye because of my social studies background. Tennessee Martin senior Dresser Wynn shared his support for a local district attorney candidate, Colin Johnson, on social media and Rep Johnson's campaign apparel while at a football camp. That's a new way to use NIL. When NIL fueled political endorsement is regarded as the first in college sports new frontier, allowing athletes to profit off their public personas. Wynn, who has 1,300 followers on Twitter, 3,000 followers on Instagram, is entering his sixth season with the Skyhawks, which competes on the FCS level. He has thrown for 2,800 yards, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions during his career. While there's a segment of fans who prefer athletes to stick to sports, this is another opportunity to tap in a new market. Any thoughts on that one?
I hate that stick to sports thing. I really do, because if you look at a lot of things done now, you know, we might not have a couple presidents that we had if they just stuck to sports, correct?
Hmm?
Played college
Getting people
sports, things like
engaged.
that. We can't, we talk about people who run companies and leaders of what we do. Sports played a major role, or people from sports. So I think that it's the wrong approach for them to come down on him like that. Yeah, you can throw his stats, and everybody has stats, but that doesn't mean he can't be two things at once.
He's going into his 6 years. Something causes me pause. 6 years, but I'm sure there's a reason.
The COVID was 6. I mean, COVID took 2 years from some guys. You got a red shirt year and then a COVID year.
Yeah. And you might, yeah.
That's 6 years. I mean, that's
6. Man. I hope he's got a master's out of it.
He better. He ain't got no damn master's. We got a problem. That's where it comes to the play. If this man still got an associate's.
Well, to close this segment, and it goes back to something Coach Franchise said earlier, building staffs, the U. Seattle Seahawks scouting executive Alonzo Highsmith has accepted a position at his alma mater, the University of Miami. He has been hired as the Hurricanes' general manager of football operations. Before I continue, fans, recruiting is a 40-year relationship, not a 4-year relationship, but you keep transferring. A Miami native, Highsmith returns to the program where he starred from 83 to 86. So again, I remember Alonzo Highsmith when I was growing up, and he graduated in 1986. And in the year 2020, he got a job at the place he went to college. It's going to be hard to get jobs when you at a school 1 year, and then at another school. Got to get some roots. Okay. Highsmith is 57. And he spent the last 2 years in the Seahawks front office, most recently holding the title of senior executive advisor to the general manager. Let me see that title again, Mike. He is the senior executive advisor to the general manager. He was with the Cleveland Browns as vice president of player personnel, and he's previously spent 19 seasons in the Green Bay Packers scouting department, where he worked closely with Seahawks general manager John Schneider. Any thoughts on this as somebody who always had some former players and folks on your staff?
I think it's always a plus to get former players on your staff. Like I think it's great building. And even in my last staff at me, the only issue I had looking back at it is none of them were my former players.
Mm-hmm.
For football, out of the 12 guys, none were former players. So
I gotta pull that title name, man. I might have to use that for CKA. That's a fancy, senior associate. Make sure I
can I have that title
one right.
Can I have that one?
You might. Senior executive advisor to the general manager, but it will be senior executive advisor to the president.
What the fuck?
So I might give you that title. There ain't no money with it. It's just a title. So yeah. Hashtag no budget productions.
Exactly. I was asking though. Oh, remind me of once we start recording, tell you a story this week in school. Go ahead. That's what it remind me of.
All right, fans. We're gonna drop off here, take a quick break, and come back for segment 3 on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project's book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success, is now available for purchase. The book serves as both a memoir of Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student-athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes numerous personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues, including former George Mason standout Follering Campbell. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And in segment 3, I wanted to take some time and give you this case study on Arizona men's basketball with the segue that the world keeps getting smaller. Top international prospect Henry Vassar has committed to Arizona. He said, and I quote, "I believe in Coach Tommy Lloyd's philosophy and how he coaches. I've had my eyes on playing college basketball for some time now, and I believe Arizona is a great fit to make a jump between youth and professional sports." So, Mike, this kid is a 18-year-old 7-footer from Estonia and is considered arguably the most promising European prospect committing to the college route in the class of 2022. He was identified as a 15-year-old at the FIBA U16 championship where he had a strong performance, playing up a year in competition, not the same age group. He has intriguing set of skills for
Not
the
the same
modern big
age.
man. 7'2" wingspan,
Yeah.
size, mobility, perimeter shooting ability, which means he could shoot, which could allow him to emerge as a legitimate NBA prospect. Once his frame fills out, he's quick off his feet for lobs, putbacks. He also shows prominent ball handling and passing ability, which means you have to pass the ball, and good shooting range. He weighs 207, and he's the same age as a lot of rising high school seniors. And if he's able to add bulk, he becomes somebody. So here's the deal here. Uh, Vizar will be one of 8 international players on Arizona's roster next season, joining Lithuanian twins, Azulos and Tatulos Tabelis, excuse me,
Hmm.
fellow Estonian,
Both of them.
Kara Kriza, Adama Ball from France, Pelle Larson from Sweden, Ballo from Mali, and Serbia's Flip Bronikin. The Wildcats are also recruiting Canadian combo forward Leonard Miller, who is also testing the NBA draft waters. And their success with international players was a key selling point in his recruitment because he's not the only guy. He arrives in Tucson and then in August, it's very hot, after spending the summer with the Estonia senior national team as a part of its Club FIFA qualifying campaign. Mike, as somebody who pays attention to the trends, I give my partner credit. What do you think about Arizona's recruiting plan?
I think they're just following some people. It's just a big story now. I know a lot of people been doing it. I know Danny Sancombe, who's now at Cal PA. He used to be at Will and Jesuit. He would go over to Europe for a couple weeks. He would go to different places, and while he was there, seeing like international games, leagues, and stuff like that, he had a serious connection with young kids who were looking to go to college and things like that. And he was able to land, you know, a couple foreign players, which helps, which the game has changed to. Like that's how we got Jokic and Doncic and all of the icks. I don't know, but um, just saying, like, so he's following it. I know it's a lot less. Plus, you over there, like you getting kids out of academies. You're not getting kids from this AAU team who this guy's trying to make this money and sell kids and things like that. So I think it's a good move. If you have the resources to do it, why not?
Yeah, it is extremely an interesting time in basketball, and I will be out more depending on your schedule. I'm going to try to grab you as well. And I'm starting my notebook for the 2022-2023 season with high school and college and JUCO prospects. And yeah, everybody's got a story. But Arizona seems to have it's a different thing coaching a European player compared to an African player who comes straight from Africa, and then the Americanized player. There's no right or wrong way, by the way. We're not saying it's just different in terms of how you can get across your messages. And I was fascinated by this story. So to close out this week, shout out to Valparaiso. Valparaiso has hired Charles Small as his athletic director, and the former Iowa State administrator will become the first Black athletic director in Valparaiso school history, and he begins his job July 1st. The announcement ends a 3-month search after longtime athletic director Mark LaBarbiere announced his retirement. So again, shout out to the newest member of the BCA. coaches and administrators. And before we close, Mike, next week, we're getting to that area that we're going to predict what we're going to talk about going into next week. We're going to talk top storylines from college football next week. We're going to do initial college football predictions, and the bowl schedule is out. So we're going to talk about bowls and the tie-ins, and that's going to help us kind of make those bowl predictions for next year. So any thoughts, any final thoughts before we close out a great week of episodes?
No, sir. No final thoughts. Oh, just again, prayers to people in Texas, people in Buffalo, and at some point, hopefully we can put our minds together, stop making it a financial, political thing, and try to save the lives of everyone for this country.
I well stated. We will end with that because it is time for some action, and thoughts and prayers aren't going to cut it anymore. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.